I've said many times that we have inspired leadership at this company, and inspired leadership in terms of how I look at that is that, as a team we work very, very closely at the home office. We do that in an agent-centric sense, that every decision we make, every issue we look at, every opportunity we undertake, we look at what's going to be best for the field. Because again, what we understand is if the field's not successful, if you're not able to achieve your dreams and your goals, we certainly are not successful as a corporation. And all that starts with our CEO, Mr. Ed Shackelford.
Are bad to the bone this morning. How you feeling this morning? Listen, I tell you, that was good. The American flag. I tell you, when you look at this flag and you look at the veterans and the prices that's been paid for this country, you look at living in the United States and having the opportunity to do what we do, entrepreneurship at its best. I just tell you, I know I'm proud. I know all of you sitting here in the room this morning is very proud. I can remember when we started the Assurance Group 28 years ago. It was really built around God, family, and this country. So let's give it up for this flag. We try to, anybody that's seen, anybody, how many's been to the home office? Okay, pretty good. We've done our job. If you'll notice, I know you probably noticed the flag, it hangs proud at our corporate office. So, we're just proud to be here in the United States of America, the greatest country in the world. I guess what we're going to do at this time, Kurt is wanting to do an interview with me this morning instead of me giving you a speech. I kind of like that. It kind of makes it easier on me. Maybe we get some crowd participation. But we're here this morning for you guys. We got a great event. As Kurt mentioned, all the great sponsorship that we've had, to help make this possible. Let's do our best to fill those rooms up today and learn all that we can. So Kurt, if you'd like, thank you guys. I'm very humbled to be here before you this morning, and we'll talk a little bit this morning about all you guys.
Have a seat.
All right, thank you, partner.
What I would like to do before we get started is, that's coffee, by the way. Not a little hair of the dog.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to thank, yesterday we had some really terrific presentations by some folks that imparted a lot of wisdom, knowledge, and really, really good information. And so I want to say thank you to those guys again. First, Mr. Marlon Kanda. Marlon, where are you at? There he is. Thank you very much, Marlon. Mike Trent, I think Mike's in here.
Yeah,
Mike, there he is. Hi, Michael. Next, Doug Bunting and Travis Little, terrific job, guys, talking about the dream. And then the guy that got us kicked off with a whole lot of excitement, Mr. Chris Weaver. Chris, thank you so much. Okay. We put together about 20 or 25 questions here. I mean, how do you start this whole thing off? And so there's a burning question. And that first burning question is Ed. Do you prefer Ed, Edward, or Eddie?
Well, I'll tell you what, I started off Eddie in school, and when me and Dwayne first met each other, I was calling him Big D, he was calling me Eddie. But when I first went in the insurance business, they kept telling me I had this little baby face. Of course, that's kind of gone today. But they said, man, you need to change your name from Eddie to Ed. So my wife has called me all kinds of wonderful names. So any of the three We'll work.
Any of the three. Just don't call you late for dinner
Yeah.
or a cocktail hour.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Ed, you played a lot of sports when you were a kid. Father coached you. How did sports influence your career in terms of your approach to business today?
Well, as you can tell from my athletic form, I was headed for greatness. No, I tell you, my father and mother, my father was huge in sports, and so I had a passion for baseball, football, basketball. One of the things I remember most, my father's got a touch of dementia today, but one of the things he did, Kurt, was he was big in believing, so he got all of us to believe that we could win. And looking back, I'll never forget, it was a Little League baseball game, and we were in that game, and I said, Dad, when I come up to the plate, the infield comes up and the outfield comes up. So I was like, man, and I'll never forget.
That's a confidence story, isn't it?
Yes, it is. What's that stuff? That man inside that talks to all of us. But no, I remember walking up to the plate. I remember his words, and he was not just talking to me. He worked with all the kids, and I remember I stepped up in a real game. I hit it out of the park, that was a day that belief before you do it really set in for me, and that really connected for me. So big influence, I think.
You're going to talk about beliefs a little bit later. Good.
Well, my family had some challenges, needed some help, and my grandfather on my mother's side was a head fixer. Hosier used to be big here in the Triad before NAFTA came through, so I went to him and said, Grandpa, can you give me a job to teach me how to fix knitting machines? And he did, so I went full-time. I left school at lunch and worked 3 to 11 my junior senior year to help.
Fixer is a mechanic. Fixer. What would you fix?
Knitting machines, 200 needles. If you could imagine 200 needles just going crazy and falling apart, you'd have to pick every one of those things out one at a time. And I was living the dream.
What were you making? What were you doing?
Looking socks.
Socks.
Yeah, socks. I don't know if I made these socks, but socks.
What socks you got on?
Oh, I don't know.
You got your crazy socks. Okay. All right.
I got my Weaver socks.
You got your Weaver socks on. Okay. This is where the story gets a little bit interesting. So you graduate from high school. You're already working full time on what, the afternoon shift, kind of 3 to 11, 4 to 12. You take a second job.
Yes.
In another textile plant.
Across the street.
Across the street. So you decided that you're going to go to work 16 hours a day now.
Yes.
And that kind of lasted about 7 years.
7 years, that was my college education.
Where's that drive come from?
I think I just had a drive from the sports and from, going all out. I look at my grandson, and he goes from the time he gets up to the time he goes to bed. So how many people in here got kids or grandkids? If you can imagine that energy, I think that drive just continued. I wanted to do better, wanted to live the dream, and I just frankly couldn't get my own, hosier mill pay for one job. So I said, hey, I got, third shift job, so I worked about 80 hours plus a week. The good news is I got 2 paychecks and felt like I was living the dream a little bit better. So.
I imagine you were a little tired after 7 years.
Just a little numb.
Right. So you're working 7 years, you're working 80 hours a week.
Yep.
How and when did you decide to get your insurance license?
I remember there's a bench we sat on second shift, and we were kind of taking things apart and fixing them and then taking them back to the machines and putting them together. And I picked up the wall ad, and it had wanting people to sell insurance. I think it was A.O. Williams, I didn't know that at the time. By term, and that's the difference. And so I went and interviewed for that, and man, I bought into the dream of when he shared with me, you can make a first-year commission and a renewal commission. I thought, boy, this is unbelievable. So, I bought into it, man, and went for it. I quit my second shift job first. I think it was in 1988. I quit my second shift job first, and I wanted to see if I could make it, selling. Of course, I started out selling family and friends like I think we all do. And then after about 30 days, I remember going home telling Beverly, I said, I'm not as talented as these guys are. I've been in the business for a while. I said, but I think I can outwork them. And so I quit my third shift job, and then 2 weeks later, she told me, well, I got some great news. I'm pregnant with twins. So, it might have been
That's where the drive comes from, right there.
And so I said, oh my gosh, I've dropped my health insurance. This is who I'm going to be. I'm going to be Mr. Insurance, and I don't even have health insurance. So I had a real motivation to work more than 80 hours a week.
All right, let's move on to the next question. There's a gentleman that runs one of the top universities in the Southeast named Nido Qubein. And there's a lot of folks here and family at Tang that went to High Point University. Your two daughters, Olivia Dwayne's daughter and Laura's daughter. Nido is a world-recognized speaker, leader, motivational speaker. And he has a quote that you like, because I've heard you mention this a million times. And the quote goes like this: "The circumstances in which you find yourself today do not determine where you finish, merely where you start." What do you like so much about that?
Well, it was, first of all, it's a profound quote. If you think about it, regardless of where you are, if you're broke, if you're kind of doing okay in business, or you're doing fabulous, knocking it out of the park, you can stop and start at any time. The past doesn't matter. What matters is where you are right now and what you're going to do about it right now and where you want to take it. So, there's another quote about, God gives you life. That's a gift that He gives us. So when that doctor spanked me on my behind, that was my gift from God. And I think it's up to us to live our life to impact people while we're here. And then the gift we give back is when it's time to go back. So if you think about that, I'm sure, I don't know how many in here would like to maybe start all over on that gift you're creating and give back to the maker. But this right here restarts it at any point in time. So, regardless of where you are, so to me, it's just a profound statement that hey, you can get it going right now, this morning. Which is hopefully that's what we're going to do, man. I know everybody's doing fantastic out here, but this getting together like this and investing in yourself, I've already picked up a whole bunch of things from a lot of you last night. Some good, some not to do things, but it's really, really fun last night. We were dreaming last night.
Yeah, we were. Your mother used to tell a story about, she told her a lot about you coming out feet first and kind of being a hellion from the get-go.
She did, absolutely. I think that's a true story.
Sounds good, even if it's not. Okay, you're big on beliefs. Mm-hmm. You mentioned it when you were playing sports and how sports and your father helped you believe in yourself. Mm-hmm. You've been doing that for a long time. You started your career in 1988. Mm-hmm. How important beliefs been to you? I mean, explain how you feel about just believing in general.
Well, I think that's something we all struggle with. I talk to a lot of the team players about the inner voice, the man inside. It's always tearing us down. There's two voices inside of each of us, and I just think that, I know for me, it's hard to believe sometimes in yourself because you got that inside voice talking to you, putting fear in you, putting doubt in you. I think to let go, to be all you can be, you got to believe in yourself first, and it starts there. And then from there, you carry it on by, who you get around, the relationships that you build, the connecting of those relationships. And, if you think about, this short life we have here, reassessing yourself, saying, what are you getting out of the relationship? I look at the relationship I have with Kurt and say, what did I get out of that relationship?
What do you get out of it?
A lot. I got a man that never stops working. I look at Dwayne, you think about the integrity, that he has in him and the belief of doing things right. And you look around the room, and I could sit and call all the folks in this room as I get to know you. There's something special in you. There's something you bring to the table. So, I just think that it all starts with belief. Another thing, I've never met God. I've never shook his hand physically, spoke with him in person. But if you think about that, if you believe, not being able to see that. So I think it all gets created from the beginning. Belief is everything. And so it's big for me and my family.
Terrific. Belief. So here's a quote. I'm not even sure where I got this, but I know you and I have talked about it a bunch, but it's a little deep. It says, what you believe leads you to what you do. What you do determines who you are. And so just kind of being a student of philosophy, because I frankly spent my entire career tag trying to figure you out. Here's what Friedrich Nietzsche said about this. To do is to be. Immanuel Kant said, to be is to do. And so I'm thinking, okay, that's a little too deep. And so I know one of your favorite philosophers is Frank Sinatra. So I had to throw him up there. And what he said about doing and being is doobie doobie doo.
There you go, take a break.
All right. We spent time listening to Doug Bunning and Travis Little yesterday talk about achieving your dreams, building your dreams through team building. So I got a two-part question for you. Do you dream?
Oh, heck yeah.
Okay, now are you willing to admit what you dream about?
About you.
Okay. That's scary.
No, yes, I do dream. Obviously, I dream about, TAG. I dream about you guys sitting out here in the audience. All good dreams. I dream about where we are and where we're going. I dream about 100 plus offices across the country. I dream about my family, things that are important to me, and just like all of you. I dream about what are the key motivations that's going to keep the flame burning, get you up early, put you to bed late, and so I dream a lot. I think you should dream big. That's another thing. Just let go. Everybody say this morning, let go. Believe in yourself. And, to do that, you've just got to let go and quit worrying about all this stuff that inside man seems to say to all of us. And got to find a way to kill that guy. But, dreams are big. Dream big. Dream big.
Chris, Travis, Doug, everybody yesterday talked about how they kind of set themselves up, to be enthusiastic and positive and have the right attitude. How do you start your day?
I tell you, I didn't always do this, Kurt, but, getting around positive people, getting around people like Nido Qubein, Tony Robbins was a big influence in the very beginning. He wrote Awakening the Giant Within. Books, reading, studying. I got a little recorder that I carry with me when I walk in the morning, so I'll go on YouTube, get something inspirational, and I'll plug it in, something that I can find. All these things, I know, I think about all the people that spoke yesterday talked about motivation, the keys to motivation. You need a strategy to win in life. And so, when you first wake up in the morning, the mind is an incredible thing. And I heard this somewhere that, the wave cycle in the morning goes at about 10.5 per second. So that means basically is your subconscious mind when you first wake up in the morning, about the first 20 minutes is at its optimum time for you to do something and put yourself in a spirit of how you want your day to be. So when I go out and walk in the morning, I walk this morning. How many walked this morning? Okay, we got a few out there.
I walk down here.
So I think it's important, to feed yourself positive things. So I've just kind of gotten in a ritual of listening to things, reading things. I get my little recorder, trying to find something good that puts me in the right spirit to get started. So, it's the little bitty small things that you learn to do that'll set you up for success. So I'm big on that.
Okay. I think I added this question, and I'm not sure I told you about it, so you can say pass if you want, but what's the last thing you think about when you're headed to the pillow at night?
Should I go back to the kitchen and get that last dough that you left?
Tommy bought for me. My answer's always yes, buddy. I'm probably like you may out there, a little ritual. I thank God for my family and pray for my grandsons, daughters and wife. What's on my mind that day. Okay. I may you've been able to, should have asked this earlier, but tell me how you felt when you received your first commission check. You've been getting a paycheck for a long time. You got that first check.
Well, I still get giddy when I think about that. How many of you in here remember your very first insurance check? I mean, I know it had to excite you. You know, when I was a mechanic in the hosiery mill, and I was wiping grease off my face, my arms and all that, and then I went to that interview, I'll never forget, my first sale that I made is over $1,000 in commissions, and I just got plumb giddy. I think me and Beverly went to McDonald's and got us something to eat. It was, I remember it to this day, so it does my heart good to see a brand new person get their insurance license and, you know, make that first sale. I don't know if Brad's in here this morning, the guy that just started with us, that sang Amazing Grace at my mother's funeral in January. And I called Kevin, I said, get that guy in here. Guy's got a set of pipes like that. I don't know what he does for a living, but we gotta recruit him. Kevin's like, man, I've talked to him for the last couple of years. And so he came in, we recruited him. He was calling me, you know, he hadn't made that sale yet, Then when he called me, he made that first sale, man, it took me back to that first time I got my insurance check. Because what we got here, man, is unlimited opportunities.
A little different earning a check with a pen instead of a wrench.
But it's a little cleaner too.
Okay. This is important, and frankly, this is maybe the main reason why I came to work at the insurance group, because of what you practice in terms of the golden rule. It's on our website. You talk about it every chance we get. You reinforce this at every sales meeting we have, every executive team meeting we have. Talk about why it's important.
Well, it's you know, it's just biblical. Being brought up Southern Baptist, my mother and father. This is what, you know, I learned. You know, so if you think about it, you know, it's good to build an organization where people know that at the heart of the organization is this right here. So I can't tell you that we always make every decision the right decision, but when we do make decisions as a company and we go back behind closed doors and we talk about things, even if we make the wrong decision, our intentions are good because we live by this rule. I think people need that sense of certainty. I think you can build a family on this, raise your kids right on this, and certainly grow a business like we've grown here. So give you guys a round of applause here for being here and believing about this right here.
When we were doing a little bit of work with us together, Ed and I came across a quote that just struck us crazily, actually. And it was from William Barclay, who is a Scottish theologian. And it's just strong. It says, always give without remembering, and always receive without forgetting. I know you like that. Okay, so I've heard him say this about 1,000 times. So I think this is the real reason why we practice the golden rule. But it says, living by the golden rule is a great way to live your life. Living by the golden rule also pretty much guarantees that karma bus won't hit you when you least expect it.
Have you guys seen how big that karma bus is? It's a big old boy. Kurt, could you change that Edward to Eddie on that?
No, I won't do that. I'm sorry. Okay, so audience participation time. So, Ed, go ahead.
All right, you guys heard the ending of this. Garbage in? Okay. It doesn't work that way. That's the reason I wanted to bring it to everybody's attention. If you think about garbage in, okay, don't buy into the garbage out. It's very, very important to pay attention what comes in, what you allow to come in here. Because I gotta tell you guys, this is the, you know, the things I try to teach my kids, my grandkids. Garbage in, it sets in. It sets up. It gets stinky. It takes root. So if you let garbage in, it's not going out. It's hard to get it out. It sets up a condominium, and it wants to stay. And so if you think about garbage in, garbage out, lose that garbage out. The best thing we can do is protect what we allow, what we get around. You know, if you think about, you know, if you want to be happy, you got to get around happy people. If you want to be successful, you got to get around successful people. And so, and like I said,
What if I want to be rich?
I would say get around poor people and do nothing that you see them do.
Okay.
Now, so it's.
Do we have a drum roll on that? Rim shot.
But no, it's important to pay attention who you hang out with. What benefits are you getting from hanging out with the Graham? Think about, hey, who you're spending your time with, what benefits are you getting from it, where are you going, is it helping you to inspire you to be all you can be? So stay away from the sad people, the negative people, things like that. They can affect you in a big, big way.
Very close to the message I think Chris was delivering yesterday to us. Okay, describe the importance about being passionate.
Oh man, passionate is my number one thing. I mean, how many people in here is passionate? Do you feel like you really have something to live for? Something to get up for? Raise your hand. Okay. God, yes. I say, man, come to life full of energy and full of passion. This is the game phase. This is what Coach K and his team showed up with when he won the national championship.
I knew he'd work that in.
They are, well, there's a lot of Carolina fans in here for the locals, but they were passionate. I mean, you got to be full of energy. You got to be passionate. If you're not those two things, I mean, come talk to me. Come talk with our leadership team here. This is everything. Passionate, energy, full of life. What are you motivated about? Those things are great questions. Look, you can't just wake up every day and just be, wow, let's go get them, unless you got a picture of someone like Doug Bunting. He's always got a smile on his face. But to be passionate, to be full of energy, game changer, when you're out there knocking on doors, when you're out there getting in front of people, doing what we do best, bringing value, and that's a game changer for all of us sitting in here. That charisma that you bring to the universe. I want to be around passionate people. I want to be people full of energy, full of life.
Great. When we were putting this together, I think everybody's certainly heard of Steve Jobs. I mean, he's one of the foremost innovators of our time.
He's not done a lot in life.
No,
He's a billionaire.
not at all. Taken away from us way too early. But I thought everybody might like to hear him describe the importance of being passionate about what you do. Jake?
People say you have to have a lot of passion for what you're doing, and it's totally true. And the reason is because it's so hard that if you don't, any rational person would give up. It's really hard, and you have to do it over a sustained period of time. So if you don't love it, if you're not having fun doing it, you don't really love it, you're going to give up. And that's what happens to most people, actually. If you really look at the ones that ended up being successful, unquote, in the eyes of society, and the ones that didn't, oftentimes it's the ones that were successful loved what they did so they could persevere when it got really tough. And the ones that didn't love it quit because they're sane, right? Who would want to put up with this stuff if you don't love it? So it's a lot of hard work, and it's a lot of worrying constantly. And if you don't love it, you're going to fail. So you got to love it. You got to have passion.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool what he's saying is passion can sometimes be the difference between charging on and giving up.
Absolutely.
If you're not passionate, you don't love what you're doing, find another job. Okay, let's talk about attitude. Again, common theme here, attitude. Every now and again, you need to adjust minds, right?
Just a few times.
Talk about
No,
attitude.
attitude, hey, that's, there's a great clip. Anybody that is somebody in a significant way shows up, attitude's another game changer. And so there's some great clips. How many people in here saw Kenny Chesney's that thing he put together, Boys of the Fall? And if you haven't seen it, it's a great video. It's about all the coaches and players talking about the game of football how it, mentored them to get them ready for this game called life. And, all sports are related around, attitude, passion, energy.
You told me a story, and you're a much bigger sports fan than I am, and I don't remember who the coach was. But you said that there was a coach that talked about he's got a kid with attitude here.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a kid that has talent here, and who he'd rather work with than coach.
Coach for Florida, I'm trying to think of his name.
Bobby Bowden?
Yep, Bobby. And he was talking about, man, if I have a kid that's got talent, and I've got a kid that's got heart, I know that kid with talent is going to play when he gets ready to play. I know that kid with talent is going to have all kinds of demands. He said, but that kid with heart, he's going to give me his best every single time. So look for people out there with heart. We want to look for people with talent, but the ones with heart, baby, there's the ones that's going to get the job done for you long term.
We're going to talk about habits, and I'm a sick enough individual when I'm watching a movie with my grandson thinking about work.
This is fun.
And this is just a real good example in terms of developing good habits. I mean, all of us struggle with using the telephone. And so I thought this was a cute little thing we could show you. If anybody's familiar with Gru from Despicable Me, this is what I think about when I'm watching movies with Ty. Anybody ever feel like that when you get a call list? Ed, talk about the importance of developing good habits and creating a don't-do list.
Well, first of all, Mark Hagan would appreciate it if you don't burn any of the phones that he has sent out to you. But no, that is a great example. The telephone is, how many people use the telephone in our business? And so, creating great habits like that, making sure, here's a great question. If you imagine every person out here that would run 20 to 25 appointments, now that's a great habit to create. If you don't like to use the phone, get a telemarketer. Coach someone to do the things that you don't want to do. I think it's important to have a to-do list, but also to have a to-don't list. So you always got to be reassessing, where am I? What do I like to do and what do I not like to do? But what has to get done that you don't like to do? So I think it's important, like I don't cut the grass. I'd rather spend my time selling the dream, getting in front of people. I got a maid for Beverly because I don't want her to get upset at why I'm, selling the dream and she's in there cleaning the house. So you have to kind of think ahead of all the other things that is going to happen as you get rid of some things. But this getting on the telephone, knocking the doors, doing what we're thinking, I just think that every day, take a look backwards and say, what do I need to continue to do, and then what do I need to, get rid of? So a to-do list, and I also believe it's important to do a don't list.
Things to stop doing.
Yep, start doing.
We're gonna continue down that path of don't do. Talk about change.
I think the biggest thing I can say about change is if you look at today with technology, not only the way the world's changing here, but globally, things are going to be different. I know Nido Qubein says they're teaching the students at High Point University, you got to be able to do 29 different occupations between now and the time that our children will retire. And so I just think, guys, it's going to happen. We're going to have to change is like breathing. And so I think we're going to always be reinventing ourselves as a company. I think the companies that do that are going to survive long term. And there's a lot of companies right now like Blockbuster. I can't name all the companies. I already got the other day talking about. These were all great companies, but they didn't change. And change don't necessarily mean you got to spend a lot of money. but we gotta keep saying, how can we be the best we can be in front of our customers? And what can we do differently that's gonna set us apart? And you know, when you heard Mike talk about, his speech that he gave yesterday, he talked about being technical, being an expert in each field, the Med Sup, the Medicare supplement, the annuities. We got all these subject matter experts that work here at TAG to help you set yourself apart to be different than what the competition is. I think we're on our way to a great accomplishing that.
When we were talking about change, we found this quote, and I'm not even sure who I can attribute the first 3 bullet points to. Interestingly enough, the quote at the bottom is only about 2,000 years old, so they were evidently concerned to talk about change in the time of Socrates. But what we came across is, for the timid, change is frightening. For the comfortable, change is threatening. But for the confident, change means opportunity. So to embrace change, you have to be confident. Where does confidence come from?
I think it comes from, again, what all these guys talked about yesterday, was, that to-do list of learning the business, learning what you want to become. What is, when you leave this universe, you got to be known for something. And so training, learning, someone else, I think it was Marlon Canada, talked about the why. Why are you doing this? Like teach a person to fish, that little thing there. But just learning the whys and the hows creates competence and confidence.
So in a sense, confidence comes from competence.
Yes, yes it does.
All right. Again, I mentioned Socrates, a good old Greek philosopher, said the secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. So just thought you guys might like to see that, what they were thinking about a few years ago.
Another thing I can tell you, I hear Michelle say all the time about how much TAG has changed just in the last 2 years that she's been here. It's going to happen all the time. We have to embrace change, but it's always going to be a good change. And if we make a change and it's not working, trust me, we're looking back every day to say, is it working? If it's not working, no change. So it's all about getting results.
We talked about the don't do list.
Yes.
And you spend a lot of time talking about choices, so I thought we'd talk about the to-do list versus the to-be list. And what I've heard you say in the past is the to-do list is kind of transactional.
Mm-hmm.
Check, check, do, check. Mm-hmm. Where the to-be list is transformational.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like being technical in your field. Don't just be an insurance guy, but you ain't got to beat anybody, but study the business. Like what you're doing today, investing and coming here. Okay, I want to applaud everyone in here for investing in yourself. But setting goals to say, hey, I'm going to be like Mike. I'm going to be like Marlon. I'm going to be like Doug. I'm going to be like whoever that is kind of. This is who they're known for now, and that's how you get to who you want to become. And so I think that you get around the right people in life, ask questions, listen to the answers to those questions. People that are successful want to help other people. And if you get around great people that's out there making it happen, this is who they're known for, that's the kind of folks you want to spend time with, whether it's spiritual, if it's good friends, or people that are successful. Take that time to invest and go out there and learn and go for your dreams.
Okay. And finally, we came across something. I'm leaving that up there long enough for effect so you guys see the bracketed numbers. We came across something we thought would be a great way to close this out, and I think you made this point a couple times. And again, it's staying great in line with what we talked about yesterday.
Right.
And you talked about there's a couple voices inside you.
Yes.
And so I think the way we want to close this out is tell this story.
Let's do it.
Okay, and then I want you to talk about this, but if it's okay with you, can I read it?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
So we're talking about the two wolves. And has anybody ever heard the story? A few of us? Okay. This kind of puts it really in perspective in terms of what this whole really event is about. But It goes like this. An old man told his grandson, "My son, there's a battle between two wolves in all of us. One is evil. It is anger, jealousy, greed, resentment, inferiority, lies, and ego. The other is good. It is joy, peace, love, hope, kindness, empathy, and truth." The boy thought for a minute and asked, "Grandfather, which wolf wins?" And Grandpa quietly replied, "The one you feed." Does that pretty much sum it up for you in terms of your inner voices?
I think it sums it up, guys. I think that what I'd like to talk to you about just for a few minutes in closing is, which voice are you listening to? We talk about this all the time, are you listening to the one that's putting the doubts in you? Are you listening to the one that's putting fear in you? Are you listening to the one that told me this morning, "Man, when I stand up and speak, my mind's going to sit down"? If you listen to that voice, it will crush your dreams. It will put you in a state of fear. And, we got to be able to say this morning that, I'm going to knock that door. I know there might be a pit bull behind that house, but I'm going to get out here and I'm going to knock on that door. I'm going to hear no. You're going to hear no's over and over and over, but then comes that yes. So, I'd like for everybody this morning to stand up. I did this a little bit last night and say, stand up and say, "Yes, I can. I'm going to believe in myself." How many people in here really believe in yourself? How many people believe in yourself to invest in yourself? And I'm not talking about just the summer sales event. I'm talking about getting up with our subject matter experts and becoming the best you can be at final expense, the best you can be at selling annuities, the best you can be at selling underwritten life. I know it's hard, but if you go out here and hang out with Reed, Jack, some of the guys that do really, great things, be the best recruiter in here. Think about where we are right now as a company, where you are, and say, what are you going to do? Today's the day to quit listening to that voice. Today's the day to find a way to actually shoot that man so that the good wolf comes up every day. And that's not going to happen because, trust me, life will hit you from the blind side. And you never know what life is going to throw at you. So you've got to prepare yourself. You've got to invest in yourself, just like you've done today. And get out there and make things happen. How many people believe we're going to get to 100 offices? Do you believe that? How many people in here believe that you're going to make more money, do better than you've ever done in the past? Okay. How many people right now believe that you're in the right place, around the right people? All right, if you believe all that, I want you to do one thing for me today. I want you to write down 5 things that mean the most to you. Give me 5 things. I want you to email me. Everybody in this room, do you have my email address? And you can call me. Email me the 5 things in your life that's going to motivate you to get up early, to go to bed late, to look back daily, and to become who you want to be. I want to know who are you wanting to be, okay, and what is going to drive you. And I'll give you a couple examples. Don't say I just want to be happy. That's too vague. Don't say I just want to make a bunch of money. That's too vague. I want you to get down to the heart of what makes you tick. It's different for everybody. In the beginning for me, it was money. I like money. Green goes with all my clothing and all my wife's clothing. Okay? But what is going to motivate you to be the best you can be in this industry? When you look at the value proposition, the value that you can deliver to anyone that gets within 3 foot of you is amazing. You can help anybody that you run into. We work low income, middle income, and high income. That pretty much is about everybody. So the opportunity that we have here today and where we are and where we're going are unbelievable. So is it going to be your family that motivates you? I can give you my 4 things that really motivate me. Number 1 is God, my relationship with God. When I was out walking this morning, I was talking to Him. Okay. Number 2 is my family. That motivates me. Okay. Everybody's different. Number 3 is myself. Say, I love myself. I am confident in myself. You've got to let go and be okay with who you are. How many people in here is okay with who you are? How many people like who you are? You know, that's key. That's very important. Number 4 is you've got to be, for me, my number 4 is health. You know, I was out walking this morning, and I can tell you right now, I've lost 20 pounds a couple of times. You know, I was out there walking this morning, and I was saying to myself, I'm finally going to get to losing this weight forever. You know, I need to lose 20 pounds. This is the only vehicle God gives us, and we got to take care of it. Those are my 4 things. Number 5 is business. Okay, that's number 5. I heard one of the speakers talk about that yesterday. The business that we're doing here was number 5. Okay, that is important to me. And so you've got to ask yourself this morning, what is important to you? Number 5 is the business bond. I'll tell you this, I heard a speaker say this one time. He said, the 4 things that I talked about, treat them like crystal. You know, crystal, you don't want it, it can fracture it, you can shatter it. You know, so when you talk about God, family, okay, you got to be careful with it. When you talk about yourself, how you believe, you got to be careful with it. When you talk about your health, you got to be careful with it. So if you think about those things, man, treat that like it's crystal, okay? That business ball, man, we can throw that business ball up against this wall. You can't break. Business is going to be here. So think about that when you're coming up with your list of 5 key things that's going to get you up early, put you to bed late, 7 days a week is how you got to live your life. Because it should be about you and what's going to motivate you. So listen, thank you. I didn't want to stand up here and give a speech like Kurt said, so thank you for the interview. God bless you. I want it to be a wonderful day for you. We got a great event tonight. So go out here and learn some stuff. Sit with the sponsors and get this good stuff that they got to share with you. And God bless you, and thank you very much for this morning.